Now, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're ready to go, right?
I think we're ready to start.
Okay. We will call to order the January 19th, 2021 meeting of the Tourism Board of Sumner County at 4 p.m., actually 4:05, but we're doing good. And the first item of the business on the agenda, we do have a new member, County Commissioner Caroline Kruger, and we do want to welcome her and tell her this is the best committee that you could be on. Isn't that right?
That's right.
Well, I'm very excited. I've wanted to be on this committee for many years, so I'm very excited to be here. Thank you all for having me.
I mean, I'm on another committee with Caroline.
Yep, just one more, Baker.
Okay, well, with that being said, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a motion. A second, did I hear?
Yes.
Who seconded it?
I don't know who I motioned or seconded, either one.
Okay, you motioned.
I'll second.
Okay, all right, we've got it. You say Barry Young.
I just noticed that.
Angela Novak, seconded.
Okay, all right, we have a motion and second to.
Otherwise, Angela.
Yes.
Any additions or comments? If not, all in favor, show by saying aye.
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 Any opposed by the like sign? Okay, that motion carries unanimous. We are approval of the minutes, which Barry did send out some time ago, all the minutes and all the other occupancy tax reports and other reports. Do we have a motion? Got a motion?
Mary Lee makes a motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Baker, second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the last meeting. Any additions or corrections? If not, all in favor, show by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Any opposed by like sign?
Billy, I think I'm going to abstain because I wasn't here last meeting. So.
Okay, we'll show you abstain, but you can still approve the minutes. But
Wasn't here, so I don't know.
motion does carry. And that brings us to the finance section, and the first part of it is our audit review. Catherine Rainey from Murray. What Barry? Murray what?
Associates.
Catherine, I'm not sure if we can hear you.
Oh.
There you are.
I hear you.
McMurray, Fox and Associates.
Okay, McMurray, I'm sorry. I think of Murray Feist, and I think that's a light fixture. But you go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. It's good to see you all. This year we were engaged by Barry too and the board to do a review of the financial statements as of June 30th.
I want to mute. Can everybody mute so that feedback should go?
Whoever under yours. As opposed to an audit in the years past.
I've lost everybody now. I didn't do anything.
Hey, Kelly, you need to mute.
Wait,
And
Kelly, can you mute?
Can you hear me?
Yes, but we're in the middle of our audit report. Can you mute?
Yes.
Thank you.
Why would we have to mute?
Because of the feedback from the being. Could be.
I think it was these two.
It could be.
Kelly, we can still hear you.
Oh.
the meeting
what was-
director should be able to mute her.
Well, that would be our IT department.
I just did it.
Yes, okay. She's muted. I'm gonna mute. Carry on.
Okay. As I was saying, we were engaged to do a review of the financial statements, which is much less in scope than an audit. So normally in these meetings, we have a long list of items to discuss with you as far as how the audit went. Well, there's really no required communication for a review. So I did want to let you know that we had absolutely no disagreements with management. Everything went great. I did want to highlight, hopefully everyone got a copy of the financial statements.
Yes.
But I did want to highlight a couple of items in the financial statements that may look a little different. And the first one is on your balance sheet. We have a prepaid expense account, which is up significantly. We reported $84,882 in that prepaid expense. What that is because of COVID, so many of the events that tourism board sponsors were canceled or moved to the next year. So the $84,882 primarily represents the sponsorship that was already paid out for those events that will be applied to next year. Barry, did you
For
have?
explaining that, Catherine. And I also wanted to make sure that everybody remembers that these financial statements are through June 30th. So although they were prepaid June 30th, many of them have already been exhausted since.
That's correct, yes. In addition, we have accrued liabilities that are increased primarily to PTO that was carried forward, that it just now got to the point of being relatively material amount. So we have to, for generally accepted accounting principles, we make an accrual for that this year, which hasn't been done in the past. On your statement of activities or income statement, the biggest thing to note is your hotel tax. It went up $90,000, but there was no, the effects of COVID haven't hit yet, because as you say, these are as of June 30th. And so the effects of the lockdown, so you're not getting those revenues, had not hit at that point. Your expenses were pretty much in line, as with your revenue as far as an increase, your program and your management in general. They increased slightly, but not significantly. And really, that is the only significant changes from prior years. You will note in the footnotes, we do talk about in the subsequent events that, the full impact of COVID was not really reflective on these June 30 financials. And just that to expect some sort of variance next year, but that management is still investigating what that would be, basically. So we're setting an expectation, basically, for that. Do you have any questions?
I do not. Thank you, Catherine. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Do we get an A+?
Got an A+.
Thank you.
Okay. If no questions, then y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
Catherine. Thank you, Catherine. Mr. Chairman, do we need approval of that audit review?
It wouldn't hurt. We will entertain a motion for approval of the audit review.
So moved.
Have a motion by Baker and a second
I'll second.
by Mary Lee. Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any other questions? If not, all in favor, show by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Okay, that motion carries. I'll start doing hand raising since everybody's muted. But anyway, we will move on to the finance report. Ms. Montgomery.
Okay, so it's pretty simple. I have gone through and audited all of the different accounts, including the profit and loss statement. As of for the first 6 months of the fiscal year, we had taken in $293,000 plus grants for a total of $326,000, grants and miscellaneous, I'm sorry. And our expenses are perfectly in line with the budgeted expenditures for a total of $275,000. So as of the end of December, there was still $51,000 left, which is good, especially because we're on a lower income budget this year. Over on the balance sheet, the good thing is that Catherine's already explained a few things. So as of June 30th, we had, or December 30th, 31st, we had $173,763, 173,763 in the bank. Those prepaid assets she was talking about, 3625, were a few remaining prepaid events that canceled or reimbursements because of a event canceling. And then going down to, there's really no $615 worth of liabilities, a couple of payroll prepaids. Everything's in line there on the balance sheet as well. There's not a lot to talk about. It's always just pretty small and simple. So yeah, I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, any other questions? We will ask for a motion to approve the finance report. We're going to have to unmute so we can hear you.
Yeah, I try not to motion or second my own stuff, right? So
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Second.
Baker. And a second from who?
Caroline.
Okay, Caroline, good. All in favor, show by raising your hand except Caroline, and you say yes or no. Because I don't see your picture.
Oh, yes. Hang on. I'll start. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Nice to meet you.
I'm here.
All right. Any opposed? Like sign? Okay, that motion carries. We will move on. We're ready for occupancy tax report. Director Barry Young has about the rest of it. So you just move right on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The occupancy tax report I sent out to you. It's no surprise that November is down significantly. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. So according to this report, we still have one more month to go, December, before we're halfway through the year. And just to remind you, our budget goal was $586,000. And right now, it looks like we're going to be at least halfway there after our next month comes
December
in.
is 6 months.
The challenge is going to,
December
I'm sorry?
31st would be 6 months. We start on July 1.
right, but see, I don't have the December
Never
report
mind.
on it yet.
I knew that. I knew you knew what you were talking about. I apologize.
That's all right. But anyway, the question is we're entering a very slow period, January, February, and probably the beginning of March. So the question is, can we catch up at the end of March, April, May, and June and get to that 586? I believe we can do it, but I think it's going to be pretty close. So Mr. David Lawing, who estimated our tax revenue, was pretty spot on from what it's looking like right now. All right, I'm going to move on to the CARES Act funding. I didn't really have anything to give you on paper, but just to let you know, we received about $82,000 in CARES Act funding. It's a very complicated process. The money comes from the federal government. We have to document everything and prove everything. And just to be on the safe side, we went ahead and spent $83,000, just $1,000 extra, because I wasn't sure that it was all going to be approved, and I wanted to make sure we spent all of that $82,000. We have received about $30,000 in reimbursement already, and we have been approved for the other $52,000, which that was our TV commercials, the biggest part of it. And I just talked to the state yesterday, and of course, Finance Administration is running behind, but they assure me that we will be getting a check for the rest of that CARES Act funding. So we're very successful in spending all the $82,000, and we will get it all back. So it's 100% reimbursement, and that's due, of course, to COVID-19. The Tennessee Department of Tourism was able to get us some of that CARES Act funding. Any questions on that?
No, but thank you for going after it and getting that free money and putting it to use.
It was very stressful because, like I said, you had to make sure it was all approved, and sometimes you didn't know if it was approved or not, and it was time to spend the money. So it was a tightrope that we were walking on, but it looked like everything worked out and everything was good. Just to let you know, we have been notified by the Tennessee Department of Tourism that we're going to receive a marketing grant for $19,945. Just in case you remember, the last 3 or 4 years, we have received $27,500. In those years, we would always ask for 30 or 40,000, and they never would give us what we asked for, but we got the 27.5. Well, this year, because we got all of that CARES Act funding, I only asked for $19,945. So in other words, they gave us everything that we asked for. And this is a, what do you call it, Madam Treasurer? Is it, they match half, you pay for half of it and they pay the other half of it. Is that a one-to-one match, or is that?
Well, yeah, it's a one-to-one match.
One-to-one match. So this has to be spent for marketing. Brochures, other marketing activities. And if we document it and send in all of our receipts, we have to pay for it up front, and then they will reimburse us 50% up to $19,945. So I'm pleased that we were able to get that. I know some of the tourism agencies did not even ask for any marketing money because they got all that CARES Act money, and they just were not able to handle too much of it. So,
Can you use your CARES Act money for the match?
I was thinking the same thing.
no, we cannot double dip. It has to be a separate activity. It cannot be anything that we did for the CARES Act.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Elliot, I think the same.
Okay, if it's okay, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to move on.
Absolutely. Move on.
The last couple of weeks, I've been drowning in my tears because Taryn Hill, our excellent marketing and historic site manager, who's been with us for 5.5 years. If you'll remember, we actually hired her to open the Douglas Clark House. She was the first person over there, and she stayed over there for a year. And it became very obvious that she was very smart, actually a lot smarter than I am. And we moved her up to marketing and historic site manager, and she has moved on. She gave us her notice, and she cried when she gave me her notice. She did not want to leave, but she did get a job where they offered her more money, and it's closer to where she lives in Nashville. And she just felt like she had to take it. But we're going to miss Taryn. Y'all just don't know. If you've seen our website, and if you've seen our Visit Sumner TN Facebook and Instagram pages, you'll see she did excellent work and kept up with everything. And it's going to be hard to replace her. So I'm very sad, but I'm happy for her. But right now we're looking for her replacement. And that is a key position. Obviously, I think you know that, keeping our website going and all of our social media. I think we're on about 5 or 6 social media platforms. So we wish Taryn the best, and she did a great job while she was here. Okay, the next thing, Mr. Chairman, and I'm not even going to get into this piece of paper I sent you. The bottom line is I wanted to make you aware that in the Tennessee legislature, it has come up about occupancy tax. And this gets kind of complicated. And Mary Lee, I don't know if you have heard anything about this in Goodlettsville or not. But to make a long story short, the city of Athens, Tennessee, which is in East Tennessee, they added a city tax onto the occupancy tax, and they wrote it in a way, they didn't even mention the city of Athens. They went around and they said, okay, any city in our county that is between 13 and 13,500 population can do a 3% occupancy tax. They didn't even name themselves, but they were the only city in the county that had a population like that. So to make a long story short, one of the senators there, state senators in the Athens area, questioned that and took it to the Attorney General. And basically the Attorney General has said that these cities and counties that have doing what's called stacking of the taxes. In other words, let's just take us, for example. We have a 5% occupancy tax. It was passed by a private act in 1985. Well, as you're probably aware, most of the cities in our area now have added a tax, occupancy tax. And what the Attorney General is saying is that that's unconstitutional. And he's saying that if you had added a tax after 1985, then it's unconstitutional. I'm sorry, after 1988. I'm sorry, I'm getting confused myself. After 1988. So I've been told that we're not affected by this because our private act was done in 1985, 3 years before this stacking law became a law. So in other words, it's been called into question, this extra tax that has been added on to the occupancy tax. And it does affect some counties. It's my understanding when you have a city and a county, whoever did the tax first has priority. So for example, in Obion County, Union City, the city did the tax years ago, and the county has just now come in trying to add a tax. Well, the county now is called into question because they stacked on this tax. Does that make any sense?
What about cities in our county?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The cities in our county, the Attorney General is saying that their taxes are unconstitutional because they've just been recently added.
When did all this happen?
I'm sorry?
When did the Athens tax happen?
You know, I don't know. I've been sent so many different legal documents about this. My head is spinning. I don't remember everything. And I don't know if Anthony knows anything about this or not either. Have you heard about this, Anthony?
Yes, we're in good shape. The cities, basically their hotel motel tax goes away, all of them.
Harry?
But we don't want to get into that because here's the deal. Ours stays the way it is. We represent the entire county, but you've got Goodlettsville, you've got Gallatin, you've got Portland that's passed one. I think they're all in jeopardy except for ours. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's correct. Baker.
I was gonna say, didn't the state pass a law several years ago authorizing cities to do this?
Well,
It hasn't been that long ago, I don't think.
They authorized them, Baker, but the problem is the state attorney general turned around and said that's not legal. So
right.
we find that they can't do that even though they passed legislation. It's the same how we got hit with fire service.
Fire service. That's what I was thinking.
Before, when I was a commissioner a long time ago, before I was elected to county executive mayor, we funded through the general fund all of the volunteer fire agencies, everything. And it was under the county and there was one command. But then the Attorney General ruled that that was illegal, that we were double taxing the municipalities and the county residents. So we had to do away with that and make them all volunteer and then make them independent agencies. Well, this is the same thing. He's just opined that basically what they're doing is not legal and they can no longer do that because they don't want to stack the tax. So every time, you got a county then stacked it with cities, that the occupancy tax got too high in their opinion. So the good thing is we're fine. The bad thing for the cities, especially like just say Goodlettsville, I know they were one of the first ones to do it. They established their own tourism board. Well, now they have no way to fund it without going into the general fund.
So I wanted to just bring this up in case you heard anything about it, and obviously Anthony already knew about it. Like he said, and like we've been advised, since our act was a private act prior to 1988, it was in 1985, we are not affected by this. It's the cities and some counties that have added taxes later on that are having a difficulty. Now, I've been told just informally that the legislature is going to try to work something out where it's capped at 6 or 7%. I don't know if that's true or not, but I just wanted you to be, as my board, to be aware that this is happening. And I've been told now they're not going to take it up until next year. So I don't know that there's going to be a solution to it right away. It may be next year before there's a solution, before they address it, because right now they're addressing education, I think is when they started today. So, but I just wanted y'all to be aware of this. We've been told that we're not affected because our private act was in 1985. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but of course it will affect some of our cities, and obviously it's cities and counties across the state of Tennessee. Any questions about, and I apologize, I am not an expert in this area. I just read and talked to a few people about it. I don't know all the facts about it, but I felt like I needed to bring this up, that it is an issue that is going to have to be resolved here by the legislature.
This is my first meeting, so I may be asking a really dumb question here. So forgive me if I am. Can we anticipate these cities asking, if they lose their funding, can we anticipate them coming to the county and asking?
Won't do any good unless you're willing to give it to them.
Well, I'm just thinking ahead. That's all.
I mean, because I think we've clearly got the high ground, Caroline, because we spend money. Do you spend money only in the county, Barry?
Say that again now.
Do you spend only money in the county?
No.
Do you spend money only in Gallatin?
Oh, no, it's countywide.
Or yeah, that's right. So we're promoting all events in the county. And I think by doing that, it's very appropriate. So we do that in the northern end in Portland. We do that in the southern end in Hendersonville and Gallatin, all through the county. I think the real issue is, and I think Barry and I have done a simplistic job of explaining to you what's happened. What they're really concerned about is stacking taxes, stacking of the taxes. Say after 1988, a county did actually put in a hotel motel tax. I think that stands unless a city put in one before that county put in a tax. That's the crux of the Attorney General's ruling, is stacking of the tax. And I think some legislators don't like that either. So I don't know that that would be overturned, because the way they look at it is you're just putting on top of taxes on top of taxes, and they have a concern with that. And of course, the majority of our state representatives and state senators are Republican. So maybe that's a little bit better explanation.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. But I will try to keep you up to date if I hear anything else, and I'm sure Anthony will let us know if he hears anything on his end. But again, I've been told that they're talking about negotiating a cap of like 6 or 7%. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's not
Well,
going to take.
I think that's more in the spirit of what they're trying to do, is to make sure that it doesn't get out of control.
Yes. But I've also been told that they're not really going to take this up right now in the session. It's going to be later on, possibly next year, before they take it up. So just wanted you to be aware of it. All right, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to keep moving if that's okay.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead. Director's report.
Yes, sir. Just to let you know on some events, as you know, we produced 2 TV commercials, and we had an opportunity to actually advertise on the Michael W. Smith Christmas special on TBN. They gave us a special hometown discount. So we ran those commercials on December 11th for a very good return and rate. You know, we've been having to think out of the box because of COVID-19, and I helped the Gallatin Chamber. We live streamed the Christmas parade on Facebook this year, and they asked me to be the MC or the announcer on Facebook for that. So that went very well. I remember waving at Baker now. He was in the parade.
Shocking.
And a lot of people were complimentary that we live streamed the parade on Facebook, so people who didn't want to get out could still watch the parade. You probably saw that we unveiled 2 music pathway markers. One of them is Taylor Swift over at Memorial Park, and the other one is the Isaacs over at Veterans Park in Hendersonville. And I'll tell you, I had heard of the Isaacs before, but I wasn't that familiar with them. And let me tell you, they have a huge worldwide following, and they've got people wanting to come here to see their marker because they did a Facebook Live during the ceremony. And they've got thousands and thousands of followers. And actually, I talked to Lily Isaacs, who is the mother, and she's interested in coming here to do a concert. And we said, yes, absolutely. We'll work with you on doing that. And you know where they want to have it? They want to have it at at Veterans Park, right next to their music marker. So we're going to try to work out a date when we can do an Isaacs concert, and people will come from out of town to see those Isaacs perform.
Barry,
Yes.
before you go on, I have a question for you.
Yes.
It didn't occur to me until just now when you were mentioning it, but do we have any money left in the TV ad campaign?
We have limited marketing funds this year, as you know. Of course, we've got that grant now that's a 1-to-1 match. What do you have?
What about Huckabee? Have we thought about doing a commercial on Huckabee? Because that gets nationwide.
I've never really checked with them. I figured the rates would be too high, and I was shocked when TBN contacted me on this Michael W. Smith because it was a lot cheaper than I ever imagined. I will check into that, but I have not talked to Huckabee folks about TV spots. But obviously, it's right down the street here. I can certainly talk to them about it and see what they say.
They might give us a hometown rate as well.
They might. They very well might. Of course, you probably know this, but the Huckabee show is under a different management than TBN is. It's a kind of a separate deal, even though they're kind of married together because they have the Huckabee show at TBN. But I will certainly check on that and find out if we can afford that or not. I mean, really, TV is so expensive. You know, we've never done any TV before until now because we had that CARES Act money, and it afforded us to have a chance to run some TV. And speaking of the Music Pathways marker, I don't know if y'all remember or not. The first time I met the Commissioner of Tourism, not Mark Ezel, the current one, but the one before him, I can't think of his name now.
What was his name?
Triplett. Kevin Triplett. I told some of y'all the story that when I first met him, he introduced this Music Pathway, and he put a big display on the wall with the map of Tennessee, and it did not include Sumner County. So after it was over, I went up to him and I said, I can't believe you're not going to put Sumner County in this music pathway program. He said, no, we're not. I said, how can you leave us out? Johnny Cash, Conway Twitty, Taylor Swift. I just started naming off people, and he didn't take too kindly to it, but I just felt like I had to let him know we need to be in there. So they've changed the program now where it really includes every county, which I'm glad they did. And we have to nominate these music artists to the state, and we have to fill out a big application. Mary Lee, I'm sure you got some folks in Goodlettsville. Patsy Cline didn't, no, she lived in Madison.
Well, her dream house is in Goodlettsville, and then
Okay.
String Bean, the whole.
Yeah.
all
So
the
you have to fill out an application and send it into the state, and they have these different phases of these music pathway. We'll have a whole lot more signs coming. That's one of the things I'm trying to do right now is fill out these applications and get them in so they'll consider them. You may or may not know that Johnny Cash was put in first, and he's right there in front of Halo Realty in Hendersonville, but we have not had an unveiling for him yet because COVID has hit, and the Cash family does want to come, and we want to have a big unveiling for that. So we're waiting for COVID to die down a little bit, and then we'll have a ceremony for Johnny Cash. I've also been told that, who's the music producer in Westmoreland? I can't think of his name right now.
Owen Bradley.
Owen Bradley. Thank you, Baker. I knew Baker would know that. Owen Bradley has been approved, so there'll be a marker put in Westmoreland.
And no, I'm not related to him.
Okay. But just to let you know, that's how it works. We don't get to pick them. We have to submit it on an application to the state. And of course, it's a statewide program, and it takes a while for things to happen. So just to let you know, we're going to be sending in a lot more applications, Conway Twitty, Barbara Mandrell, the list just goes on and on and on. And hopefully we'll have a whole lot more